Good morning. It's Tuesday the 20th, and I want to welcome you to a presidential edition of the Pastoral Blast. I want to talk to you this morning a little bit about stewardship. And before I begin, I want to thank so many folks. We had a very great turnout for the church cleanup, and I want to thank all of the volunteers that came out. I really enjoyed myself. But I also want to thank everyone who is so engaged in keeping PLC operating. You know, how long can you attend here and not know Cynthia and Ann and Elizabeth and their welcoming, and Dale Sears and Chris with his chocolate, or Daryl and all the committee reports that he gives us. So I want to thank you. People, the volunteers at PLC are doing a great job, really are doing a great job. So why am I talking? Well, I'll give you, I just kind of think back to a commercial a couple of years ago when the coach is giving a pep talk at halftime, urging greater, work harder. And one of the athletes looks up to him and says, "But coach, aren't we ahead 47-0? So it's a little bit like that, but even so, we're at halftime. We're at halftime in the middle of a pandemic, looking forward for moving forward a capital campaign. And even so, there are things that we can do better. So that's why I want to talk to you about how can we do better. And I've really broken this down into three simple questions I want you to think about. So first of all, I'm going to say, dearly beloved. I'm addressing you, whenever I hear dearly beloved, I'm thinking of Paul, Peter, and John. You know, not a band, but the apostles. Because when they were writing their letters, and they, like me, could not see who they're talking to, wanted to know that, right off the bat, that he loves and cherishes everyone in the congregation, no matter what he has to say. So brothers and sisters, dearly beloved, who are we? Well, Peter writes, "You are a chosen race, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's own people, in order that you may proclaim the mighty acts of him who called you out of darkness into his marvelous light." He builds upon the connection in Hebrews identifying Jesus as our great high priest, a priest forever in the order of Melchizedek. Even Luther wrote, "All who are Christians are priests." Well, there are two words I want you to consider from this: royal and priest. Our royalty comes by adoption as brothers and sisters of Christ, the King. Royalty, God's plan since creation for his people to rule with him in heaven. And priests, not Levitical priests who must make a sacrifice for their sins before interceding for the sins of the people, but a priest made righteous to stand before God. God welcomes us at any time, at all times, into his presence. In the midst of sin, we can pray and be heard. At our very worst, he will hear us. Our priesthood is more than salvation. Nothing stands between God and us. So what does this mean? It means we have authority, royal authority given by God. We have priestly authority to intercede on behalf of ourselves, yes, but others, most important. God entrusts to us his gospel of salvation to a lost world, his ministry of love, his acts of mercy, his commitment to the widow and the orphan, his instruction to never cease in doing good. It means collecting the tithe, filling the storehouse, meeting the needs of brothers and sisters, and acting as wise stewards of the world God created and God pronounced very good. So what does he ask of us? Responsibility. God chose us, me and you, to do his work. He gives us everything we need to do his will. He blesses with time, talent, and treasure. It's his word become ours. His work become ours. He has not shortchanged us in any way. We need only to give the effort. It is true some have greater treasures, but all are blessed to give something. And all have talent, and we all have gifts of the Spirit. And all have 24 hours a day. Have you ever thought of tithing your time? Here are some thoughts or things I've observed as a leader in PLC. Ann, our treasurer, has been faithfully serving for many years and has been waiting 2 years for someone to step up and take over. Don, our sound booth operator, has been waiting for over a year for someone to take over his duties. The nominating committees are looking for members to fill critical positions of responsibility. 2 weeks ago, just a short story, 2 weeks ago, a sister's car battery died during parking lot church. It was the last parking lot church, you may remember. A call went out for a jump. The lot emptied. I'm sure you thought, as I did, someone else will give her battery a jump. She was left at last until the least of us went to her aid. We can do better. Consider this. At night before you go to bed, or if you own a business, before you lock the door, likely you look around to make sure everything is safe and secure. I ask you, dearly beloved, before you come to the communion table and celebrate what Jesus has done for you, ask yourself, have I been a faultless priest? Has his calling for me today been met? What have I sacrificed on his altar? That's stewardship. Thanks.